Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. This video is probably going to be uploaded tomorrow now, as I've already uploaded one video. The day that I've made this, I uploaded my contest entry for Movie Worm for his 1,000 subscriber contest, but this I'll probably put up tomorrow, and then Saturday I was going to do a haul because I am going to CEX, but now I've decided what I'm getting because I've looked on their website to see what they have, and it turns out I'm going to get two higher quality things instead of getting more, because I'd rather get quality over quantity. So yeah, you'll see what they are on my Saturday video. Anyway, but this video, as you can see from the title, is my underrated films. So these are films that I think are underrated and not many people really talk about nowadays. I'm not sure, because most of these, in fact all of these films, pretty much came out before I was born, so I don't know if they were underrated back then or if they just aren't talked about anymore. But I think all these films are between good and great films, hence me thinking that they're underrated. I have 15 here, they're all in my collection, and yeah, I'll just talk through each of them and why I think they're underrated. So first off, we have The American President. Now, obviously this has got a great cast, as you can see. It's got Michael Douglas, who I think is a great actor. Sorry, my pile misfell. And Annette Bening, who's also really good. It's also got Martin Sheen and Michael J. Fox as well. So four really good actors. And the thing that makes this even better is it was written by Aaron Sorkin, who is one of my favourite writers, if not my favourite writer, and directed by Rob Reiner, who is a great director. He directed Stand By Me. What else? I think he directed Misery. I may be wrong on that one though. He's directed some great films. So When Harry Met Sally he did as well. So but yeah, this is basically just about the president, who's is it a widower, I think. Yes, a widower, isn't it? um and he's got a young daughter, and he falls in love with a lobbyist that has been basically brought in to help with his ratings, his popularity ratings, and they fall in love with each other, and that is basically the story. And it is quite political, but the way that the film is written makes it that you can understand it, even though it is quite political, and the romance is quite strong as well, so it's not heavily political, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's one of the films that I think is underrated, and I don't really hear many people talking about nowadays. Uh, Next up, we have Backdraft, directed by Ron Howard and starring Kurt Russell and Billy Baldwin. I believe this is getting a 4K release at the end of May. I will probably be getting it on 4K at some point because I do really enjoy it. It is my favourite fire-related film. It's just a 90s cheese fest, I would say. A lot of these films are in that category where they're quite cheesy and they're from the 90s. I believe this was 91 that this came out. I'll have a look quickly. I'm sure I've done this in one of my videos before, tried looking. Yeah, 91. But obviously it's about firefighters in a firehouse, and two firefighter brothers, and they don't really get along, but they have to get along to survive burning building. Because, well, not one burning building. There is a big scene at the end, but there's an arsonist that's setting fire to buildings, and they have to work together to survive the buildings and take the fire out, basically. Really good film. Great cast, as I've already said. Kurt Russell, Billy Baldwin. It's also got Robert De Niro. I think Donald Sutherland's the villain in this. Uh, I believe Jennifer Jason Leigh's in this as well as his love interest, Billy Baldwin's love interest. But yeah, it's just a really good film. I do really enjoy this, and we'll be giving it a rewatch again, so recommend that one. My second one that's, I think, underrated. Next one I've talked about a few times in videos before, and that is Contact, directed by Robert Zemeckis, who, if you have seen my favourite directors video, you will know is my favourite director. this obviously stars Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey, and it's basically about first contact with aliens and how they achieve it. And I think this is the most realistic, even though it isn't real, and it probably wouldn't happen. But this is the most, if you know what I mean, realistic. Like, you can believe that this, if there were to be aliens trying to contact us, this would be the way in which they would do that. I just think it's a really well done film. The score is really good in this. Obviously, it's Alan Silvestri, who's done all of Robert Zemeckis' films. But yes, a really good film. And I would definitely recommend it. The visual effects are really good in that as well, for the time. Next up is Crimson Tide. So this came out around, I don't think it was the same year. I believe The Hunt for Red October was 90, and this was 95 or 96. It doesn't actually say on here, I don't think at all. This was either 95 or 96, so a few years after The Hunt for Red October. But I personally prefer this film. I just really like the pairing of Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. I think they butt heads really well together. They work well together. Obviously, it's about a submarine and all these. Are they Navy SEALs or soldiers? I don't know what. I'm not very good. I think they're Navy. What do you call Navy people? People. Sorry, I'm having a mind melt. But basically, they're on this submarine, and there's a country, I don't know which country it is, it doesn't say on there, I can't remember, that's gonna try and fire, that is basically gonna try and fire nuclear missiles, and basically the submarine's basically told that they need to fire the missiles at this country or whatever, or wherever, or another, it might be, I think it's another submarine, it might be Russian or something, and because otherwise, if they don't fire these nuclear missiles at this other submarine, then it will cause World War III. And Gene Hackman, who is like the commander of the submarine, he wants to fire them. He's trying to fire them, and then Denzel Washington doesn't agree. He thinks that doing this could cause a massive thing, a war. So he's trying to stop it. So they, as I say, they butt heads together, and I think it's just a really good drama / thriller. It says action thriller, but there's not a great deal of action in it. It's more tense drama thriller. But yeah, it's really good. Directed by Tony Scott, who obviously also did Top Gun and Days of Thunder, amongst many other films. But yeah, really like this, and I definitely recommend watching it. Right, sorry. Next up is Enemy of the State, another Gene Hackman film, also with Will Smith. He's the main character, and it's been a while since I watched this, but I believe it's about some big like a lawyer, and he's given like files or something, and he doesn't know what they are, and they're like big secrets that the government are trying to, because he's seen them, they're trying to kill him, the government, basically, I think, from what I remember, and he basically has to go on the run and try and find out what is really happening, because he doesn't really know what's happening, and he gets help from Gene Hackman's character. It's been a few years since I've seen this, and I can't remember too much about it. I do remember it being a brilliant film, which is, yet again, directed by Tony Scott. Yeah, I really liked this. Thought it was a really good thriller, and I would definitely recommend it. I also think, if I believe it doesn't say on the back, but I'm pretty sure Jack Black's in this. Very early role for him, but it's got lots of great actors in. But yeah, definitely watch this if you haven't already. Next up is one that I don't think is great, but I did have a lot of fun with it, and that is Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage. Basically, they have to steal 60 cars, I guess. They've got to steal a lot of cars, I know that, in one night, basically, for this criminal, so they can clear their record, because Nicolas Cage's brother is basically owes them a debt, and to be able to clear his record, they have to steal these cars for him in a specific certain amount of time, and if they don't, then basically his brother will be killed, as will he. And I believe, who's the cop in this? Oh, it'll take me a while, but I'll get there, unless I look. I could just look. Delroy Lindo, that's who it is. I knew it was someone big. He's the cop going after them, because he knows that they have criminal pasts, and he's going after them, trying to stop them from stealing these cars. The only thing I didn't think was great about this, I thought Christopher Eccleston didn't fit as the villain. I thought he wasn't a very menacing villain. He wasn't very good. But as I say, it's not a great film. It's a good film. But I do think it's underrated, and not many people really talk about it nowadays. So yeah, gone in 60 seconds. Next up, In the Line of Fire, which I believe is also getting a 4K release this year. I don't know if it'll be in the UK as well. Obviously, Clint Eastwood, he plays an FBI agent that had, well, he's actually not an FBI agent. He was an FBI agent. He's now a Secret Service agent protecting the president against an assassin that's trying to kill the president. I believe, yeah, he was, let's have a look. No, he was a Secret Service agent in the 60s, and he was on the Kennedy assassination thing, and he failed to save Kennedy. And now it's happening again. Someone else is trying to kill the president 30 years later, and he has to try and stop them. And it's just a really good thriller. Obviously, as it says on the front, Clint Eastwood, you probably can't see. There you go. John Malkovich and Rene Russo. But yeah, really good film that I do need to rewatch soon, because I remember really liking this when I watched it. Sorry for my nose. Next up is The Last Samurai, which again I've talked about before. I think this is a great Civil War film, one of Tom Cruise's most underrated films, and I think the last 30 minutes, which is the battle, is one of the best battle scenes I've ever seen in a film. This is what you would call an epic. It is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, 2.5 hours, so it is, epics are usually 2.5 hours plus, so you could call this one an epic. But yeah, great film. It is mainly led by Tom Cruise, but it's also got Ken Watanabe in, who plays the leader of the samurai, one of the last samurai, who basically takes Tom Cruise in and trains him to be a samurai, and he helps them as well. So yeah, really good film. Definitely recommend that one. Next one is a childhood film for me, and that is Matilda. You may think this is like just for kids, but it's not. I would say it is a family film. Adults, well, I still nowadays, now I've just rewatched it recently, I still get enjoyment from this. Um, Danny DeVito is really good. I like that he narrates as well as plays Mr. Wormwood. Um, is it Pam? Yeah, Pam Ferris, Miss Trunchbull. I think she's great. And I just think it's a really good adaptation of Roald Dahl's book. Just a really good film, really entertaining film. It's a shame that they're remaking this, because they shouldn't. I know it is going to be based off of the musical that they've done, this remake, but I think they should just leave it with this remake, leave the remake because this is so good. So yeah, Matilda. Next up is, I think, one of Robin Williams' most underrated films, and that is Patch Adams, where he plays obviously a doctor who likes to help his patients with comedy. Because as it says, humor is the best medicine. Um, and I just think this is a really nice. It's not just funny. There's a lot of heart to it as well, and it is quite an inspiring film. It makes you think that you can do whatever you want to do, and yeah, it's a really good film that I definitely would recommend. One of Robin Williams' best. Next up is Reign Over Me, which stars Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle. It's about a man whose his entire family was killed during 9/11. They were on one of the planes, and he's become very, very depressed since then. And he's a loner. He doesn't like talking to anyone, and he comes across Don Cheadle's character, who he was friends with and he went to dental school with, and they form a bond, and he tries to help him recover and heal his pain. And I just think it's a really well done film. I personally think this is Adam Sandler's best film. Others would say other films. I haven't seen Uncut Gems yet, but I don't think that's going to be better than this for me, because I like this film. I had a connection to it. Um, but yeah, this is a really good film. I would definitely recommend watching this if you haven't seen it already. Next up is £7, which is one of Will Smith's most underrated films. It's from the same director of The Pursuit of Happiness. I think he did this 2 years after The Pursuit of Happiness. And it's about a man that's trying to change people's lives, a few random people's lives. He's trying to change their lives for the better. And it's very heartwarming, I want to say. It's got a very sad ending, but it's just a fantastic film. I just absolutely love this film. I think it is, for me, Will Smith's best. Um, just slightly in front of The Pursuit of Happiness, because I love both of the films. But yeah, this is really good. I definitely recommend this if you've not seen it. Down to our last three. Next up we have Sneakers, which obviously has a great cast. I'll try and get in close. So you've got Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, uh, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonnell, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier, and David Strathairn. Is that how you say his name? Strathairn? Yeah, I think that's right. It's basically about a group of hackers that are trying to track down something, like a box. I can't really remember. They're trying to track down a box, basically. But there's shady government people trying to get it from them. And it's not just it's not really a thriller. It's well, it is and it isn't. It's got quite a lot of comedy in it. It is quite a funny film. Same director as Field of Dreams. It's like a caper. They're trying to obviously steal this black box, trying to find out where it is and steal it. But yeah, it's a really good film from the early 90s. I believe it was on television last year, which is where I watched it. But I would definitely recommend watching this if it comes up, because it is a good film. And the last two are Kevin Costner films. First one is Waterworld, which I watched recently for the first time, which apparently was a flop back in its day, but I think it does have a following now, and I did really like it. I know some people would probably think it's quite boring, because almost all of the film is set on water, but I think it keeps you engaged, and I think the story is quite good. The characters are good, and I just really liked the film. I thought it was really well done, and yeah, a good Kevin Costner film. And then the final film, as I said, which is also a Kevin Costner film, is Wyatt Earp, which is also my favourite western, which also stars Dennis Quaid and Gene Hackman, and is obviously about the legendary Wyatt Earp, the gunslinger or lawman, and he basically gets a group and takes over basically the law, but does it in his own way. Gene Hackman plays his father, and Dennis Quaid plays Doc Holliday, and it's just a really good film, really good western, great performances. It is rather long, but I didn't mind that it was too long, because I enjoyed it, and it wasn't slow, because it had lots of action in it, and yeah, I just overall thought it was a really good film. So that is it. That's why it hurt. So those are all films that I personally believe are underrated. You may disagree with some of them. You may agree with some of them. You may not have seen some of the films. If you haven't seen any of those films, if you ever come across them, be it on the television, Netflix, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, I recommend you picking it up, watching it, any of them, because they're all really good films. Well, it's the only one that I wouldn't put in the really good film category is Gone in 60 Seconds, which I still think is a good film, but it could have been better. But the rest of them are really good films, and I would definitely recommend them. But yeah, that's it. So as I said, this video will probably go up tomorrow, which will be Friday, and then on Saturday you will see the two pickups that I got, if I end up getting them, if they're there. And yeah, I don't know what will be after that. I haven't planned next week yet. But if you have any suggestions of what videos you'd like to see me do, leave them in the comments. Leave it in the comments if you've seen any of these films. Yeah, and anything in general, I'll comment back to anyone that takes the time to message, or comment rather. Don't forget to like the video if you did enjoy it. You can also dislike if for some reason you didn't like the video, but if you do that, please let me know why you didn't like what you didn't like about the video, and I will try and improve on that in the next video. And also don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and turn the notification bell on so you know when I have a new video up on the channel. That's it. So until next time, take care everyone. Goodbye.